And welcome to the Geeks 31 Days of Horror for Halloween. This is Will.
This is Steve.
Tonight we've got a special guest with us, the terror nerd himself, Taylor, man. Taylor, it's been a while. How you doing, man?
Yeah, doing pretty good. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, we brought you on because you asked for it. I'm glad you didn't ask for us to watch The Crow because I know how much you love that movie.
But that wouldn't have been. We wouldn't have had a good time.
Connection wise.
Are you having a problem connecting?
Pause. We can pause it.
Yeah, we'll restart it.
We can restart it. Are you hardwired in or?
Yeah.
It's just there's a long delay.
Yeah.
Do you want to restart?
Let me leave and come back.
Do you want to restart and then try to jump back in? Yeah, everything's fine.
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
Probably my end with my shitty ass internet.
You might maybe even reboot your router. We got a little bit of time. We can hang out. I just have to get out of here by like 6:45. So that's an hour and 30 minutes. So it should be good.
We're not talking about this movie for an hour and 30 minutes, but yeah.
We could.
No.
We could.
No, we can't.
Did you watch The Crow yet?
Fuck no.
I want you to watch it.
I have no desire, Steve.
Maybe
you
to watch it. I want you to watch it to just like hate marvel. Watch. Like it's not even a hate watch. It's like when I was saying like I was mad at the movie, it was just like I was offended. Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? And why? Like none of this makes. Who thought? Like you're just dumbfounded the whole time. Every time a new scene happens, you're like, this is all bad decisions. Every part of this so far is bad decisions.
I hate when they do that too, like especially when there's. Yeah, I have a soft spot for the original Crow, right?
It doesn't hold up very well. I mean, I just rewatched it. It's still great. Don't get me wrong. I still love it. It's still a hero, but
yeah, but it's not the greatest. There's things about it, but again, like we never got the real movie because there were so many scenes that they had to like shoot differently, for Brandon Lee and stuff like that.
But even in that movie, like the little bit that you got,
I love the gothic tone.
It's the running on the roof scene with fucking The Cure playing. That's it. That's The Crow.
Yeah. Right. Even though that's not Brendan Lee,
it doesn't matter. It's still
I know. I'm just saying, like that's one of the scenes. Like, but you're right. Like that's that, or him standing up at that table and getting shot at a bunch of times by all those gangsters and stuff.
The
like
knife
that.
fight with old boy in the alleyway.
And so many great quotes. Mother is the name of God on the lips and hearts of every young child. And victims aren't we all? It's like, see, that shit's been ingrained in my fucking head.
And then this one, they swap all of that out with two junkies that meet in rehab and get high and have sex for a couple of days until they get suffocated by drug dealers who they ripped off.
So they should have died. Like the other ones were people that shouldn't have
these
died.
These are not good people.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like
and like
was his name Eric Draven? Was he Eric Draven?
Yes. And she is Shelley, whatever. And it's like it's the actual names. That's what I'm saying. It's like you could have just done this with the different names, and then it's because of that, right? It's almost even like not even that bad of a Crow movie if you just don't do that. Because I've watched the other Crow sequels. Those aren't as good as the fucking first movie, but I still like the third one at least for what it is. Like
is that one City of Angels?
No, that's part 2. The third one was with Kirsten Dunst and Eric Mabius. Not a good movie. Fred Ward was in it. Not a good movie. Doesn't hold up. But like I have nostalgic like for it. I really like that one. That's a me movie. And all you got to do is change his name. That's it. Just change his name. You make him Eric Draven. Now you make me compare it to the original. Yeah. You are making me make that comparison. And then we got more in the little flashbacks where like Eric was touching the little things in their apartment when he first came back to life in the first movie. and like you saw like flashbacks of them cooking and like laughing and stuff. We got more love in those 10-second flashes than we got in all of this real time story with these two.
Yeah,
it's
and
as supernatural shit. There's like demons, and Danny Houston's in there as the fucking bad guy doing magic and shit, and you're like, I don't want. What the fuck is this?
Yeah, I don't know.
Eric Draven just sucks at everything.
Eric Draven sucks.
Well, hopefully, he can get his shit worked out, because I want to talk about the movie. I watched it yesterday, and I was like, I forced it in yesterday, right? Like, I got off work early, came home, was working on that fireplace thing, and then I was like, I need to watch this movie. So we watched Agatha, then we watched Hellboy.
I haven't watched Agatha yet.
I was like, I have to watch it because we're going to record tomorrow, and I don't know if I'm going to have time when I get home from work. Then I didn't have to work today. So the irony was I had all day to fucking watch this garbage movie. And I squeezed it in yesterday. We'll see how good it is.
All right, sorry. I have to use it on my phone.
Hey,
that's all right.
It looks good and sounds good.
Yeah. I'd say turn your phone. Can you turn your phone to get your full shot, or?
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, sweet.
Perfect. That works out good. It's just avoid the desk as much as possible.
Yeah, it's gonna bounce and shit. So, all right. Well, I'm gonna start the intro again. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Geeks, 31 Days of Horror for Halloween, and this is Lil.
This is Steve.
Now we're joined by the Terror Nerd himself. Got his Nerd Club shirt on too. What's up, Taylor? Oh man.
Hey, what's up going? Sorry, out of breath here. I had to run outside and get my AirPods.
That's all right. We've been having some technical difficulties, but we're back now, so it's all good.
Everything's all good here. How about you guys?
We're good, man. We're good.
Surviving.
That's all we can do these days.
So Taylor, you son of a bitch. You know you're active in the feed, and you and me, we talk. We're friendly outside of this shit. We're good buddies. But you picked a doozy. Now this is a movie that I wanted to see personally.
Right. We did talk about seeing this movie. I don't think we were hyped to see it. It was a curiosity. And I figured we would do it at some point. Not for 31 days. You guys are telling me it's kind of a horror story, so let's fit it into 31 days. And sure, it's got witches.
It's scarier than some of the shit that we watch. I mean, it's not scary, but like it's got more horror stuff than some of the movies that we put in here.
Horror elements, yes.
Horror elements, yes.
But
spoiler alert. Alert, that CGI is horrific, if that counts.
Well, I mean, this movie was made for $120.
Honestly, and also not only that, but like when it went straight to streaming, I almost tend to like take the graphics, like especially the CGI, and like I don't even worry about it, like because I'm not expecting anything.
Yeah,
this thing had a budget of $20 million.
Yeah,
like the CGI is gonna look like shit.
I looked online and it said that overseas it only made like maybe like 1.5 million.
Oof, probably no. Well, there's no marketing.
It was released in Turkey, just like the 1990s Captain America live action movie, like where it got like that was its theatrical release. I mean, it's fine. I mean, so the summary of this is Hellboy and a rookie BPRD agent in the 1950s. So it's a timepiece. It's set back in the 50s. Are sent to the Appalachians, where they discover a remote community dominated by witches and led by the sinister local demon, the Crooked Man. And I mean, it's starring some people that have been in stuff. I mean, what's his face was Black Tom Cassidy in Deadpool 2, the guy who played Hellboy. Was it Jack Kesey? Jefferson White. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't read these damn names. I am getting blind in my old age.
Just asked
Adeline Rudolph, Leah McNamara, and of course Steve. What the fuck? Jeffrey's back as a damn priest.
Another priest. I was like, it's the Pope's Exorcist all over again. And was he blind in the Pope's Exorcist? I think he might have been.
No, I don't think he was blind, but
damn it, it's pretty close.
Still, like, he keeps popping up as a damn priest. Like, I'm watching this,
and he's always a priest with an attitude, right? He's like, "Girl, you at your fucking mind." And this one, I'm like, "Oh shit!"
A priest with an attitude and like sins of the past. Like, he can't be just a good, clean priest. Nope. He did some shit. But
I'm okay with that. I was okay with Liam Neeson suddenly becoming an action star, and I'm okay with Jeffrey coming out of the woodwork to be a shit talking priest in every movie. It's fine with me.
It's true. So Taylor, I'm gonna throw it to you first to give your non-spoiler review of Hellboy: The Crooked Man. You have read the comic, right, or the graphic novel?
Like,
yeah. So
so I actually shot you guys a message earlier that I reread the story as well to kind of see the difference between the comics and the actual movie, and there are actually some good differences actually. So I'm honestly, like, I was happy with what I saw. Like, that's only because I am a Hellboy fan. I was introduced to Hellboy pretty much just like everyone else in the early 2000s with Ron Perlman. And then he did the second one. I even watched the animated movies that Ron Perlman and the other cast did. I'm trying to think. I've played a few of the games. They just came out with a new one. I can't remember the name of it, but Lance Reddick, he voiced Hellboy in that game. But yeah. Cool. So the movie, I liked it. I thought it was really cool that Mike Mignola wanted to make his version of a Hellboy movie, because he was not a fan of Del Toro's and Ron Perlman's movies. So, yeah, I'm all into that supernatural stuff. Yeah, so I liked it for what it was.
So what
would you rate it?
Yeah. Probably a high sidekick.
Okay, high sidekick. All right, Steve, what about you?
I'm more around the lines of a sidekick to low sidekick. I don't think this is like, so here's the thing. The trailers already got me like, oh man, I don't know. You know, the look, even David Harbour. I was a little turned off by David Harbour's look, to be honest. I'm married to and used to Ron Perlman's look as Hellboy, and I still think he has the best look. Here is especially tricky because when he's walking around, you can see his suit bunching up in his tummy, like like where it's supposed to be 6-pack abs, you can see the fold in the rubber, and it's like, ooh, this isn't good. But I will, and the sin of this movie is that they put this motherfucker in the sunlight. If you keep this Hellboy out of the sunlight, he actually looks really good in shadows.
Yep.
One of the problems is that every time he's talking, he's fucking putting a goddamn cigarette in his mouth, so it's hard to fucking figure out what he's saying edgewise because every word is this. And I get lost in it starts jumping. Like once you get like introduced to the initial cast of characters and you're like, wait a second, this guy just showed up just now after 15 years, like just right now. Okay. Once you get past that scene, everything like it's jumping around a bit. It's a little hard to follow who's doing what, especially with the bone and all the stuff going back and forth. This is this power now. And Jeffrey gets introduced. Maybe I was just a little too green, but I was getting quite confused. But I will say, even though visually at a $20 million movie, this should be like the visuals should be one of the worst parts, I don't think that's the case. I think some of the visuals are actually pretty good. There's a lady that gets inflated, kind of, and it's awesome. And I think, like I said, when Hellboy's in the shadows, he looks really good. Like, it looks really good. A lot of times he's like jumping around, shooting his gun, like when the lighting's right, it's pretty solid. I don't know about, Bojangles, the fucking crooked man. Like, I kind of hoped he would just kind of be like a Slender Man creepy guy, but like when they get all close and he's like, "I want me gold," I'm like, "Oh man, I don't know what's up with this."
It's not even gold; it's what copper.
I know, but like he looks kind of he looks like a little leprechaun. But so I'm gonna give it a sidekick because I think, like, I like Joe, I like that character, I like her being introduced because you got to have that audience surrogate so that everybody can explain shit to her. And I thought that, what's the actor's name that played Hellboy?
I don't know.
Jack Casey, Joe Casey, something like that.
Curie or something like that.
This dude's up against the mountain.
Jack Kesey
up against the mountain, and like he's got to follow Ron Perlman and David Harbour. And for what he is, I think he held his own. And I think I think if they would have had a little bit more money, that we could have gotten the A+ out of this. I like the idea of Hellboy just having these almost like X-File adventures. Like, he stops off here and has to deal with this crazy shit, and then he's on his way over here and has to deal with this crazy shit. And like, I could see a whole series of these Hellboy movies where it's like Hellboy, the Yeti, Hellboy, and the fucking, the Chupacabra, Hellboy, and whatever. You could do. There could be tons and tons. I like the idea. I don't think this is the worst thing. I don't think this is not as bad as The Crow, although you mentioned something about that before we started recording, but this is leagues above that. But I'm sitting at a sidekick right now with Hellboy, the Crooked Man.
All right, so Steve, I agree with you in the sense that maybe not a movie series. This is a TV series. Like, this would be a perfect, like, I think you said X-Files, like. But
they could do it like with the Witcher budget, something like that.
Yeah, you could do. I mean, like, this movie costs $20 million. You can cut it down to a $10 million an episode budget for a 60-minute short, because there's a lot of shit here that just, to be honest, was boring. There was big gaps of boring.
A lot of talking.
Jumping around, and it was.
And you got Hellboy. And like, I'm not here for the dialogue. I'm not here for Kevin Smith's Hellboy. I want, like, let's see some shit. But I get that that's not the comics. So.
And that to me is like the biggest sin of this film is it's boring. I give it a low sidekick. I was impressed with the special effects for $20 million. I did like
pretty good.
The witch, that train scene.
I thought it was all right.
The CG spider was fine. I like the witches floating, and the bone cracking thing that we've seen all over the place now, but it works. Some of the characters were fine. The story, it felt like the story was rushed, yet the story wasn't like
fleshed out enough
and too long. Like, it's a weird dichotomy. That's why I was bored, because it's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, get to the point. And
weren't you looking for a spider? What the fuck is even going on?
Yeah, and the spider barely came back. It did come back for a second, but like,
thank God. Like, the spider was just right there.
Yeah,
a lot of this movie is happenstance.
For a second there, I was like, we're getting toward the end. I'm like, if that spider is not down in those fucking tunnels, like, this is a zero, because like, you don't introduce the giant spider that can shrink and not have it come back.
So
again, it's a TV movie. It should have gone straight to streaming. Like, these are the movies, like, like probably on a Tubi original budget kind of thing. We're talking $20 million, and I love Tubi. We've talked about it. Steve and
Tubi originals aren't even anything to laugh at anymore, bro.
No, there's some really good Tubi originals.
Good shit on there. Tubi rules.
But yeah, you could have done the guy who played Hellboy didn't bother me as much, but I agree with I look at Hellboy, the voice and everything, it's Ron Perlman. Like, I read the comics in the 90s, like I have the first issue of Hellboy. I have those comics. I don't think I ever read this story, and I am curious to read it to see how it is, but like I said, like, I'm glad Mike Mignola got a chance to like do what he wanted, but I don't think how he envisioned it as an artist and writer came across well on screen. And that's the thing you see a lot of times, right? Like Stephen King's had that problem, right? Stephen King can't write and direct his screenplays. Some of them have come out to shit. Like you need people who know what they're doing.
Are they
cinematically.
shit? Or are they shit unless they're in the right setting, right? Because Maximum Overdrive is shit unless you know what you're getting into. Well, and then you can Maximum Overdrive is fucking awesome.
It's a guilty. I'm talking about as a movie, right? It's a guilty pleasure. We love Maximum Overdrive. I mean, they got a damn Green Goblin truck. I mean, to me, that's fantastic. All I ever needed. But it's a low sidekick for me. So it is what it is.
Spoilers.
So I guess we could go into the movie further. I mean, I know we talked a little bit about it, but I mean, like the opening.
Taylor
scene
was going to cut you off a little bit ago, but he was being gracious and let you keep talking.
Okay.
But did you have a point you were going to make?
So I actually have a little list that I wrote down, like what the differences are.
Oh yeah, go for it.
So that spider is only meant for like the movie. That whole like opening scene with the train was all the movie.
Oh my god! So like,
I almost wish it wasn't there. Like, I wish the train just would have crashed or something. Like, because then it like maybe something that the witches did makes the train crash. Something, because it feels really, like I said, happenstance, random. This bug happens to get out right here. The train happens to crash down right here, and they happen upon this community in the mountains. Like,
I'm pretty sure the Crooked Man did cause the train to derail because he kept on hearing that noise.
He did. You're right. When he had the door open, he could hear, evil, as he was saying, but he wouldn't say it because he's the only one who can hear it.
The train, the giant spider smashing into the inside of the train car and knocking it over is what I thought. It's what the movie told me, knocked the train car over. But I get what you're saying. He did hear the sound, but I wish it was. See, like, we shouldn't even have to try to figure out which one it is. Like,
but maybe it was the Crooked Man that made the spider go giant.
Probably.
The movie didn't tell us that.
Yeah. I know.
It's like, tell me that the movie.
Now we're trying to make a better movie.
Is the Crooked Man, he can make tiny things big again? Like, where are his power sets? He could touch the ground and bring up zombies. So, like, what else?
You could bring back the dead.
Collects a lot of loose change.
Has a lot of neck problems.
I mean, I do too. I need to go see the chiropractor again.
It's pretty good effects though on his neck. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Special effects wise, like that's all practical effects. Like that looked really good. And I like that he was like some rich business guy from the past that like the people had enough of his shit and strung him up.
Went full Yellowstone style on him.
So what else? We got the spider was made up for the movie.
Yeah, so the spider, Jo, the girl that he was with, she's not in the comic.
Yeah, I was assuming that was got to be like Abe or somebody that he was with.
No, he in the comic,
Solo.
It's just him. And what cracks me up is the comic opens up with him already at that cabin, and then that Tom, whatever his last name is, shows up and they're looking at the body on the ground because the person's been like witched or whatever.
See, like this would be my problem if I was ever given the keys, right? I would be like Zack Snyder. They'd be like, "Can you do this Crooked Man movie?" I'd be like, "Yep." The movie opens with Hellboy alone in a cabin. Tom's going to come knock on the door and they're going to look at his body. What do they say in the book? Oh, he says, da, 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 da. They're going to say that. Like, I'm like, the story's right here. It's already done. Like, you just got to make that live action. People love this. They don't love whatever we're trying to do over here. You're bringing in a giant spider and this new character, Jo, and all this other weird shit. Like, what are we doing? You're not doing the story anymore. But Mike Mignola was part of this. So it's kind of hard to complain about them changing the facts of the story when Mike Mignola, the author of the story, is there writing the movie.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure him and two other people wrote the script.
They did. So, it was three guys. He was one of the writers. So I don't know how that I doubt they worked in a room together and talked about it. I'm sure
Yeah.
People took swipes at it and made changes and stuff. Again, I get the spider thing because I think if that movie opened up with them looking at a dead body, everybody would be like, "What the fuck is happening?" Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, you could do that. You could do that awesome thing where they do in the opening credits, where you give a little rundown of what's happening.
I mean, in the comics, Tom like asks Hellboy like, what is he doing here? And he goes, "Oh, I just got done doing a job like down south, and I just started wandering around, and found this place." So I'm just like, okay.
I guess they didn't want that much kind of open-endedness in the movie. Stories are a little easier, books, to drop characters right into places. Live action, it's a little harder. You want more explanation, but
yeah.
But I feel like they're almost convoluting it with adding all these unnecessary characters. Jo doesn't even really have an arc here. Like, she's here, she's like, I want to do field work. I'm like, okay. And then she does. And at the end, she's like, I did it. And they're like, yep. And that's about it. She never
now go back and work behind the desk again.
It's not like she had like a fear she had to get over. There was some things, there was nothing. She just wanted to be there, and then she was, and then the movie ended. That's about it.
This is not a good movie, guys. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, the storytelling here is not good.
Yeah, the
story's not. You know what? I'm gonna lower my rating down to a sidekick.
Don't let us talk you down, Taylor.
No.
Don't let us bring you off of your high.
I mean,
you're high on the movie.
You can enjoy what you want. Like,
I gave Power Rangers 1995 a hero, fully knowing that's a bad movie. I love it. So
we all love Ivan Ooze.
So they crash out of this thing. He has this kind of crazy fight with the spider in the woods. I don't mind this so much. I hate the fight with the snake. That snake is not good.
No.
The snake got biting him in the same spot, and then you want to know why? Because the actor kept grabbing the same spot when he was fake pretending to fight with the fucking snake. So it's just
and this
but that followed the snake fight followed a very cool Evil Dead style scene where that lady's floating in the air and the snake comes out of her business and wraps around her and goes in her mouth and all this weird shit. It was like, yeah, this is fucked up.
Which I agree with, but like this is the kind of the thing with this movie. Like, Hellboy gets like knocked the fuck out multiple times.
He's a rookie. He's a young look. He didn't come around until like the end of World War II, and this is what 1955. So in human years, he's like 10,
14. I actually did the math and all that. He came into the world in 1944, and
there you go.
The movie I think was in 58 or 59. So he's like around that age, like 14, 15. Looking like a grown-ass man.
Rookie agent. Well, he grows, they super fast. He's like a clone trooper, but like he's still young. He's still learning the ropes. He doesn't even have like the badge on his arm yet. He just still has the belt buckle.
Okay. But like if this is your first entry to this, you don't know any of that.
I guess you're right. I guess like I don't really.
I look at him and
people that don't have the same knowledge as me. I'm like, sucks for them. I know what's going on. It's fine with me. I don't see that as a problem of like, well, I'm not gonna knock a movie because somebody else might not get it. Yeah, fucking sucks for you. I got it. Good job, movie.
But I'm gonna knock a movie when you're making a movie for a mass audience and you don't explain the character.
Well, this was not made for a mass audience. Clearly. This was put on streaming.
They want people to watch this movie. Well, now it's on streaming. I'm guessing they want it to be theatrical.
You know who should have picked this up? Shudder should have picked this up. Or Screenbox or somebody like that for distribution. Because right now that's why it's on. You can't even rent it right now. You can only buy it or other means. Because no distributor wants to put it out. Because who the fuck is Catch Up Entertainment? That's why. But like, it's like it's just got bad press. I think it's getting unnecessarily bad press. Like, I don't think people that like the reviews, I don't think it's as bad as people were saying it is, because everyone's knocking about how it looks. And I think if you're going into thinking that it's an ugly movie, you're in for a surprise, because it's actually quite shocking how well they did for the budget they had. Not how well they did, but how well they did for the budget they had. It's the story.
I agree with that, but it's the story, Steve.
It's the story.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like,
script.
You've got to tell a cohesive story.
And, oh my god! And it ends with a Yo Joe moment. I'm going to skip right here. I'm going to go all the way to the end just for that moment where he has with Tom when Hellboy's walking through the woods with Tom, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't think the magic was ever in that bone. I think it was in you." It's like, god damn it! I'm like, what are you going to fucking look at the camera and like start laughing and like it's going to freeze frame or some bullshit?
He-Man laughing, Prince Adam.
Like, oh, that was a little harsh. That was a little harsh.
So I mean, like the good scene, is when all the zombies came out, and
so towards
that
the
was
end when
really cool, right?
The barricading scene in the church with our blind Jeffrey.
Yeah, when he offered him his youth and his vision back, I thought that was kind of cool.
Jeffrey took that bone and made it holy with his words, and then carved a fucking cross and a shovel, and then Hellboy used that as a weapon. I was like, now he only swung it through the air and it knocked everybody down. I was like, I want him to start murdering zombies with that thing, but it was still cool.
All that kind of stuff. Not a.
If they had a $25 million budget, we would have gotten that scene.
I mean, you could have had some dummy work there going, just dummies flying in the air. I mean, I would have been real happy if they had just mannequins and Hellboy just smashing them and it just exploded.
And they did like old timey movie tricks, like when Tom figured out that his dad was that horse. And the horse laid down, and then like the camera cut away, and then it cut back, and his dad was there. I was like, oh.
Or the same thing. They did the same thing with the witch, right? Like he's like, oh, he's got the little horse thing, and he like, cuts away to her laying there. Oh, now she's a horse with a sign says I'm a witch, and I'm like.
It's all those old, like, oh, you notice we did the switcheroo? Yeah, like, yes, the fuck we did notice you did the switcheroo. Like, god damn, you put it right there with spotlights. Like, oof. I also thought it was weird when, like I said, they're just randomly walking through the woods and they randomly happen upon a cabin. The lady outside's giving them all sorts of business, giving them all sorts of sarcastic bullshit about her Mercedes and stuff, and they just ask for a phone. And then they go inside and there's all these people in there. And then there's this little boy laying on there in his tidy whities, like dying. And like nobody's doing anything. I'm like, you were just out there shooting the shit with these guys, giving them the business. And this kid's in here dying on your floor. And then like they're all talking about, like, Hellboy's like, what the fuck is going on? And they're trying to figure that out. And then out of nowhere, this guy's like, I know what's going on. And they're like, Tom, you haven't been here in 15 years. He's like, I know. I'm just happening through town. Like, what the fuck day is it over here? Like, what's all right now?
Yeah.
I get it. You're a movie and you're trying to tell a story, but it's just, I hate when I can see, like, I could just look at the people writing the shit on the side.
I thought it was pretty bad acting, or maybe bad writing, when he finds out that both his parents are dead, and he's just like, oh, anyway, carry on, and just acts like it didn't freaking bother him.
I mean, I always like never, I always try to, I don't know how people act. People were different back then. People would like sell their kids for like fucking loaf of bread and shit. Times were different. But and like everybody was giving him shit too. They were like, and my dad was like, she wasn't no good anyways. Like, damn. Like, what's he supposed? I don't know what he's supposed to do. But yeah, he is kind of like, I gotta go see my mom. And they're like, oh, nobody told you? He's like, oh shit. It's like, well, that's what happens in the 50s when you go off to war and you're gone for 15 years with your magic bone. I thought it was bad acting when when his dad turned back into the horse and he was like wiping nothing away from his eyes. He's like, but there was nothing there. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, at least like give a little spritz, do a little something, cut away, spritz him. When you swap the horse out for the old man, spray a little Jimmy in the eyes with some water and let's call it a day,
Yeah.
I like that guy. He's a good actor on Yellowstone.
Yep.
And fake Sherry Moon Zombie was like just annoying. She's like sitting up in a tree cackling half the movie. I get it. Steve. Yes. Yes.
9 out of 10.
She's very pretty, but annoying. Like, and for a second there, I thought this was Sherry Moon Zombie. I'm like,
it could have been. But then they're going, oh, we got to go see this Cora lady. She's the one that threw this ball. Oh, what was her name? Granny Moon or whatever her name was. When they were like, they would cut in like Tarantino does with like a title card. And they're like, witch ball. And this lady's like, you got to take all your pubes and hair and all this crap and shit and like throw it all into a. I was like,
see, I actually that was
cool. I liked that.
Yeah.
No, I did too. I wanted to kind of more of that.
They actually did that at the end of the very first issue for this series. Like, cool. That issue ends, and then you get like an extra like page or two of her explaining how to make a witch ball.
And I'm okay that she didn't come back. I've heard some complaints like, oh, she didn't come back, and do anything else. I'm like, well, she did kind of at the end for a little bit, but like that. That's not the point. Like, she was in there to like give you a little bit of exposition because you're like, what's a witch ball? Like everybody was thinking it. Hellboy was like, oh, I've seen this before. It's a witch ball. And I was like, well, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
It looks like a ball of shit. What is it? And then here comes this old lady to tell you exactly what it is. And then it moves right along. I'm like, thank you, movie. I'm okay with that. That's fine with me. And it was told in a cool way.
He threw it right in the guy's mouth from that distance. I was like, he's just like, whoa. And like the hairball is.
It's like they're either stormtroopers or they're
Dead
Hawkeye. It's like it's one or the other. So they go see Cora, the lady who made the witch ball, and they're looking around in her creepy ass little fucking cabin, and then they find this like pile of skin. And I was like titties and all, and I was just like, this is creepy. What is this? And then that fox comes in, and I'm like, what's happening? That whole scene was awesome. Very, very good. Very creepy. The way she like kind of comes out of it and she's like screaming. Ah! It's like, yeah, this is fucked up. It's fucked up. It's good stuff. More of this.
The movie did a very good job with that scene because in the comics, it was not that good. She came back and got into her skin and just straight up was like, oh, hey, Tom. And just like carrying on like with the conversation with them.
Something cool about that too, like where you're like, oh damn, you must do this a lot. Like you just like roll them back in. But there's something cool about it being like this really traumatizing experience too. So I thought all this was cool. But then it's like leads to more backstory with Tom, and I met this witch and did this thing, like it's all leading up to this Bone story, which at the end of the day, like it's like you said, it's all just kind of a little boring, and nobody really dies from it. None of the main characters, like there's no loss here. So like, there's not really any ramifications for the story.
Well, Cora died.
She was like already dead though.
I was going to say like,
and we barely met Cora.
Yeah. Do we care about her?
Joe should have got it. Like everybody that dies, we meet like a second before they die. Cora had like the scene in the house where she came back to her skin, cried for a second, then they were walking through the woods and she died. And then the other guy that got killed was the guy on the other train, the G-Man guy on the train. And he was like, hey, Hellboy, I'm in this movie. Dead. Like, immediately. What I hate is when Joe constantly calls him Hellboy. Hellboy, look. Oh my gosh, Hellboy. Hellboy, Hellboy, look. I'm like, you have to call him something else. Like, I don't know why, but it bothers me.
What do they call him in the promo movies? Didn't they call him like HB or something like that? Like Red. Thank you. Yeah. So yeah,
I would go for that. Like, call him Red. Do something. Hellboy. Like, ugh.
I just didn't like this movie. I mean, it's. And I do like Hellboy. Like, I think it's a cool character. I think it's got opportunities. I just don't know why they made this movie.
Well, it's like Hellboy's thing, like in one of the Ron Perlman movies, like he finishes his cigar and he eats it, right? And he did it once in that first movie. He didn't do it in the second movie. Once. Oh, it's a cool thing. This movie, he does it right in the beginning. I'm like, oh, cool, they did the thing. But he does it 7 other times. And so it's like, and they show it every time.
Well, he doesn't want to litter.
It's like, stop. Just enough with the smoking. Like, he just can't deliver his lines. Like, what's happening? It's just every scene is just so much smoke.
Yeah.
Also, another thing is, which was pointless to, I think it was for the movie, like Hellboy's mom is part of the story.
I did not need anything about Hellboy's parents. You know what he is? He's a demon from hell who's supposed to bring about the end of the world. I don't need to know who his parents are. I'm okay with that. I don't need remember the lady from the first Omen? This is mom. Now she's burning for all time. Like, what the fuck? I don't need that.
Yeah, that was specifically a movie thing because there was nothing to do with his mom in the comic.
I mean, was his mom a witch? I don't remember that.
That's what they say in the movie.
In the movie,
he said because the
no, I know in the movie they said. I'm saying in the comic.
Oh,
I can't remember off the top of my head. All I know is she's related to King Arthur.
Jeez. All right, it's more convoluted nonsense. Well, Hellboy's gonna pull out the sword and the stone pretty soon.
He actually did that in the comic.
I think it's oh man, I think it's kind of a cool idea that, like, you know, we've seen these exorcism movies a little. You know, I like these.
Oh yeah.
And the fact that maybe like Hellboy was born when one of these things really took hold is kind of cool. Like maybe, oh, okay, that's cool, but like that's not what happened. He came as a baby through the little portal. Like, in order to be birthed from a human lady, who was his mom in this movie, he would have had to have been born here. But this movie doesn't give us a new origin. It's making us rely on the previous movie's origin stories to get us to this point.
And then throwing in this witch part, which I don't think made sense.
No.
I like witches. Don't get me wrong. I like witches being added to the story, and I like all of you want to bring in different mythologies and different, you know, folklores from our region. I think that's cool. Add in some more stuff. Very good. But like to tie it into his origin doesn't make sense.
No.
He came from a portal to hell in Germany. His mom is not from here.
One thing I also thought was pretty cool was the fact that with the Crooked Man was he was able to control like the sun and make it go from day to like night.
He's a fucking storm out there. He's controlling the weather.
I was thinking about fucking Moon Knight, where they're like all of a sudden they're changing everything like real quick. I was just like, that's ridiculous. Crooked Man. I don't know.
And he gets handled pretty well. Like, you know how they kill him? They shoot him in the head.
Yeah.
Well, they had to poke him with the bone first, the holy bone. Then they shoot him in the head.
But the power was in
Tom the whole time.
Yeah, Tom.
Yeah, it was.
What happens to what did I forget? What happened to Jeffrey? He just lives, right? Nothing happens to him. Did he die? No, he died.
He died.
He got ate up by all those animals that were coming in, didn't he?
Yeah.
Like all the crows, I think they were.
Yeah, he sacrificed. He because he was trying to help. What's her face get down in the town?
Joe.
Yeah.
That's right. So we did get one. We did get one kill, and I like that character too. So that does suck. I'll give him that. High sidekick. No.
I'm hanging up right now. No, I'm joking. So there you go. I mean, that's the movie. I mean,
well, it ends when they find a payphone in the mountains that works, and they call a helicopter, which was another great CGI shot of a helicopter.
Which is pointless. Like, why did you need that?
And one of the weirdest things is that Mike Mignola always said that, like, one of the things he didn't like about the original movies was that Hellboy had a love interest, because he doesn't really in the books, as far as I can tell, because that was one of his complaints.
Yeah.
And yet here they go. As a writer of the movie, he throws in a little tag at the end, like maybe she likes him. Like, why? Why? He didn't need to do that. He probably smells so terrible. Eating cigarettes, rolling around in the dirt, never wearing, like just foul. Probably smells like sulfur and fucking BO. And
squishing stuff.
Yo, and she's like, get out of here, Joe.
No, she's exhausted.
She's just fucking. She lost her shit. She needs to go back to the desk. She don't belong in the field. It ends. I'll say this though. I like the very opening when it was like showed that like boppity fucking 50s boppy rock and roll. Da, 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 and then it was like Hellboy, the Crooked Man, and like the creepy music started. I thought that was cool. I like the music in this. The music, the sound, all that stuff was very good. So
for a low budget, they did fine. Like
the title card looked like something you made in high school. It was just like a regular font with red only. It's like Hellboy, the Crooked Man. This is a school project.
Made by Ketchup Entertainment.
Off paint.
You remember the guys that made Crank? The least talented one made this one.
Did he really?
Yeah, Brian Taylor.
Yeah.
He's part of the Neville Dean and Taylor duo that brought us Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance, and Crank 1 and 2.
And also Gamer.
Who is giving this person money to make these movies?
Probably Mike Mignola.
Ketchup Entertainment.
Yep.
Jeez.
I'm sticking in my sidekick. You want to know why? Because I think the actors involved all did a good job. And they deserve some credit. And the special effects people, too. We're probably working under the gun.
I can't get over the story. I'm still at a low sidekick.
Sidekick for me.
So.
You guys brought me down to a sidekick, so.
Either, all right, Hellboy, the Crooked Man.
So Taylor, do you want to let everybody know where they can follow you or pick up some of them? Are you still selling those nerd shirts?
Yeah, over on my TeePublic. You guys want to pick up a Nerd Club shirt?
Very cool shirts. I'm a proud owner of one myself.
Yep. Just go to TeePublic or go to Google, type in TeePublic Terror Nerd Gear, and you should find it easily. Logo is literally just my skull. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, my handle is TBF Geek. So if you want to talk more about this horrendous CGI movie, let me know.
I'm sure the community page is going to be, the community chat's going to be, we're going to have some words for you.
Yeah.
When this episode drops. But
all right. Well, that's it for tonight. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for your support. This is Will.
This is Steve.
This is Taylor.
And until tomorrow night, everybody, keep it creepy.